Recording. Yeah. Good morning, guys. Let us get started. So quickly we'll rewind what we have discussed yesterday. Can someone tell me what we have learned yesterday?
Executor framework.
Okay. So what is a thread? What is the definition of a thread?
It is an independent line of execution in the program.
Yeah. Independent path of execution. Okay.
Yes,
It is not a line, it's a path because you are separately looking at in the debugger window, right? So, okay. Now, so what is the disadvantage of a thread?
The main disadvantage is we cannot reuse thread after it completes working.
Yeah, we cannot reuse a thread after the run method is completed, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So in order to provide the reusability, what is the concept that is introduced in Java?
Executor framework. Thread pool.
Yeah, thread pool is the concept that is introduced. In order to, what are the different thread pools are available?
Fixed thread pool, single size thread pool, fixed size thread pool, cached thread pool, and the scheduled thread pool.
Yeah, so fixed thread pool, single thread pool, cached thread pool, and scheduled thread pool. So what is the internal logic of a thread pool? What does it use?
It uses the existing.
So each and every thread pool will internally uses the queue concept, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so whatever the task or whatever the work that you wanted to do. So for example, in the example that we have tried yesterday, so what we have done, we have achieved the salary calculation. Similarly, in your project, whenever you want to do anything, so you will be applying the multi-threading. Whenever you, why do you apply the multi-threading? You want to have the faster process. So you know what is the work to be carried out by each thread. That work is called as a task. Okay. Now inside every thread pool, it can be like cached thread pool, fixed thread pool, and scheduled thread pool. Internally, it uses a queue concept. Okay. What is a queue? Queue is a data structure in Java, or a queue irrespective of Java. Queue is a data structure which follows first in first out. Okay, which follows first in first out logic. Now, so what are the, does anyone know what are the different queues are available?
Priority queue.
Yes. What else?
DQ.
Okay. What else?
DQ, we have array DQ.
Yeah. So what is the array DQ? First of all, what is a DQ? See, these are nothing related to Java 9. I'm just asking the question.
Double-sided instead. Yeah. Double-ended.
So DQ is called as a double-ended queue. You can do the operation from the starting and then last. Okay. So there are different queues available in Java. Those are called linked blocking queue, array blocking queue, synchronous queue, and then priority queue. These are the different queues. So inside the thread pool concept, they will be using one of these queue concept. For one fixed thread pool, I think they will be using synchronous queue. For some scheduled thread pool, they will be using some delayed queue, something like that. So whatever the queue concept that we have in the data structures, internally the thread pool will use this queue concept. Okay, queue will follow the first in first out approach. If you want to know much about the queue, then you can look at any of the data structure course. Okay. Now, next, come back to the, how can I implement the thread pool concept in Java?
Executors class method.
Yeah, we need to use the executor framework. So now I need to mention what kind of a thread pool I'm using. Is it a fixed thread pool? Is it a cached thread pool, or is it a scheduled thread pool? In order to mention, so there is a class called executors. Executors, in an executor class, there are some static methods are present. If I want to use a new fixed thread pool, then I have to use a method called new fixed thread pool. What I'm doing, since it is a static method, I'm calling the class name followed by the static method name. Nothing new. Okay. Now, scheduled thread pool, something based on the using the executors class, we are creating a thread pool. So once we create a thread pool, how can we create a thread? So whenever I call this line number 38, and I have passed the new fixed thread pool 100, will the threads will be created 100 after line number 38?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Immediately after line number 38, the threads will be created after line number 38. In the yesterday debug window, when you are able to see the thread? After line number 38 or after line number 42 execution?
42.
Yeah. So that means whenever you mention the 38 number, you are mentioning the pool size. But does it create a thread? No. Which method will be creating a thread? In normal way of thread, start method will be responsible to create a thread, correct? Whenever I'm extending a thread class or implementing an enable interface, how can I start the execution of a thread? By calling the start method. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Similarly, in the executor framework, which method is responsible to create a thread? In the executor framework, which method is
Submit.
responsible to create? Yeah, submit
Submit.
method or execute method.
Executor.
Yeah, execute or submit. If you use a execute, only you can pass a runnable instance. If you use a submit, you can pass a callable instance as well. So why do we go for a callable interface?
It can return something, sir.
Yeah. So in the runnable interface, you have a run method. It does not return anything. But whenever you are doing a thread programming, you wanted to return something. At that time, you need to go for some other feature that is called as a callable interface. Callable interface has an abstract method called call, which will be created for every execution. So whenever you are creating a thread which implements a runnable interface, then the thread flow of execution starts from the run method. Similarly, whenever you can also create a thread by implementing a callable interface. So what is the abstract method that is present in the callable interface? Call method. So whenever I create a thread using a callable interface, and when I do ex.submit, when I call the submit method, where the thread flow of execution starts, is it a call method or run method? I repeat my question. I'm creating a thread by implementing a callable interface, and I'm overriding the call method. And when I call the submit method, thread flow execution starts. Where the thread flow execution starts, is it a run method or call method in this scenario?
Call here.
Call method, because there is no run method at all, correct? Run method is only present in a runnable interface. Okay. So that means thread flow of execution start depends on if you are implementing a runnable interface, run method. If you are implementing a callable interface, call method. Okay. Now using the call method, you can return an object. So that is the advantage of going for callable interface. Now this is what we have looked at in the yesterday class, right? Now, so in the Java 9, they have created some extra methods in the executor service. What is that extra method? Let us look at. Ex dot. Do you see one method called invoke all? Invoke any invoke all, like if you learn one, it will be done. So here invoke all, are you able to see invoke all?
Yes.
Now what does this invoke all is taking?
Callable.
Now, is it a callable or
collection which implement?
Yeah,
which extends.
that means this invoke all method is taking a collection. See here, collection. That means in the generics, what they are doing, question mark extends callable. That means you need to have a collection object in which the collection object, the generic should be, which is extending a callable interface, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, in our example, so that means if I want to use invoke all, can I say that collection interface means I can create an array list, hash map, set, anything, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That means, and I will create an array list object. Done. Inside the array list, whenever you create an array list object, do you mention the generics or not?
Yes.
So
Yes,
generally we mention the generics as integer, string and all. But here, what kind of a generics I should take?
User defined.
Yeah, what is that user defined? It should extend a callable, correct? You need to have a class which is extending a callable interface, correct? Now, if you look at here, so whenever I'm submitting the task, what is this salary calculation? It's a class which is implementing callable interface, correct? Now, so using this for loop, if I submit, let me create a list of salary calculation. task list. I'm just calling this name as a task list, new array list. Okay. Now, if I do like this, and then let me add it here. Task list dot add SAL. Now, can someone tell me after execute? See, I'm no longer using the submit method because that is what earlier we are using. But in Java 9, there is a method called invocall is been introduced. Okay. Now we are using a invocall. If I want to use a invocall, what is the invocall method is taking? It's a collection object. Now let us look at in line number 39. Can I say that this task list is a collection object?
Yes, sir.
What kind of a collection object is it? Is it taking an integer or string or what it is taking?
Salary calculation.
So it is taking a object, user defined object, correct? Now that user defined object is implementing a callable interface or not? Yes. Now can I say that this collection object, can I pass it to the invocall method?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is what. So let me do this one. Okay. Now, for example, if can I keep here object and then pass it? Can I do that?
No, sir.
No, because you need to take a class you need to take an object in such a way that which is implementing a callable. Why? Because if you look at the signature of a invocall method, if you look at the invocall method, see, it is accepting a collection. But in the collection, in the generics, you look at here, it is extends callable, right? That means you can take any class. So if you want to call the invocall method, you need to have a class. Inside, you need to have a collection object. Inside that, whatever the class you are taking, that should implement the callable interface, correct? Now, the difference between the earlier one is and this one is can I say that here your whatever the task that you wanted to do, you are calling the invocall separate at a time. So that means earlier, whenever the submit method is calling, it is creating one by one thread, correct? Okay, first I equal to 0, when I call the submit method, one thread is created. When I equal to 1, second thread. When I equal to 3, third thread. So here I have mentioned 3. So maximum threads will be created 3. And from 4th onwards, is it creating a threads? No.
No, sir.
But now look at here. If I debug this program, so all the tasks are getting added to the task list. And whenever I invoke all, immediately all the 3 threads will be created. Let us look at. Yeah, look at here. After line number 38, does it created a thread in the debug window?
No, sir.
No. So now here, after line number 40, 41, 42, what am I doing? I'm just creating object of salary calculation, which is implementing a callable interface and creating a array list. Done?
Yes.
Yeah, after done. Now, earlier, where did I write the submit method? Inside a for loop or outside a for loop?
Inside.
Whenever I am writing inside a for loop, first time whenever I am executing the for loop, whenever the submit method called, it has created one thread. Agree?
Yes.
Now, second time, whenever it is executing, it is creating another thread. Third time, it is executing another thread. Because my thread pool size is 3 and maximum 3 threads have created, then 4th time onwards, it will not create. That means whenever the submit method is calling, it is creating a thread. Now, the difference here is whenever you do invoke all, currently, are there any other threads? User defined like main method is there. But apart from that, did I create any thread?
No.
No. If I do F6 immediately, then 3, see what is the thread pool size? 3. So immediately 3 threads will be created. Now where the tasks are present, all the tasks in the queue. So all these 3 threads will execute one by one task. Immediately all the 3 will be created. That is the difference. Let me do F6. See, are you able to see 1, 2, 3 at a time?
Yes, sir.
So now if you look at here, first, see it is executing Karthik. Second one is executing some Vaibhav. Third one is executing some Harish. So is it in the queue concept or not, whatever they have done?
Yes, sir. First.
If I look at this one, so what is the first person? Karthik, Vaibhav, Harish. Now second, if I complete, so let me complete this pool 3. So after completion of this, if I complete this thread 3, the thread will become free. Now, which employee will be taken? Aditya, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, let us complete this program. Thread 3. Now, let me do F8. See, it has come again. So, what is taking? Is it taking Aditya employee?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So that means the difference between a submit method and invoke call method is whenever the submit is method is called inside a for loop, one by one it will create a thread. Okay. But whenever you say invoke call, based on the thread pool, see here, here what is sorry. So why am I creating only 3 threads? Because my thread pool size is 3. Okay. Now, if I mention the thread pool size as 4, let us look at what will happen. Let me create the thread pool size 5. So maximum how many threads will be created? 5. So it will create 5 threads. Look at here. Look at here. See how many threads has created? 1, 2, 3, 4. See 5, correct? So that means invoke call will create a threads at a time. And all the threads will be taken the task. All the threads will be supplied with a task from the task list, correct? And what is the fashion it will follow? First in, first out. Were you able to see the difference between a submit method and invoke call method?
Yes.
Everyone?
So here also it is the task queue of tasks is maintained like previously.
Yes. Whenever we are just changing the method and then the way we are creating a thread is changed. But internally, every thread pool will use a queue concept only. Even if you go for Java 17, 18, wherever you go, every thread pool will internally use a queue concept only. Only the change is like submit method will create a thread one by one. Invoke call method will look at the thread pool. What are the number of threads you have mentioned? It will create a number of threads. Okay. And then each and every thread will be supplied with a task. How does it will take the task? Whichever the thread that is created first, it will go to the queue and it will take the first. And whatever the first submitted task from the queue, that will be taken first. Any questions?
Can you show us the output without debug mode?
I mean, like when I show output in the sense, do you want me to execute this one?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So already
Yes.
currently, if I look at pool 1, thread 1, it'll click on this one. Here currently where am I in? Where is my control? In the main method, correct? Now, if I want to, you want to execute thread 1, pool 1, thread 1. Click here. So see, pool 1, thread 1 is executing this line number 23. What is the employee it is accessing? Karthik. Now do F6. Okay. Now what is the salary of Karthik? 21 lakh something. Okay. Done. Now it will return. So if after returning, so that means can I say that this thread 1 has completed executing the Karthik?
Yes.
Now how many threads are there? Totally 5 threads. Okay. So first 5 objects is nothing but Karthik, Vaibhav, Harish, Aditya, Krishna. Done. 3, 4, 5. Now next object will be Melvin, right? So that means when I say that if I do F8 now, can I say that this thread 1 will become free? Whenever it's free, immediately it will take the task from the queue. What is the next queue employee? Melvin. Let us look at F8 now. If you do F6, it will go internal code. Okay. So that's the reason I'm asking you to do F8 now. If I do F8, it will come into the same. See, look at here. Still I'm in the thread 1 only. What is the employee it is taking? Melvin, correct? While other threads are executing. See, thread 2 is executing the same line, but what is the employee? Vaibhav. Thread 3 also executing. Whichever the thread you want to debug, you click on this one in the debug window. So you can see Harish. See, thread 4 is executing some Aditya. Yes. Hope you get it.
Yes, sir.
Sir, every thread will take same time to complete the task.
No, you cannot guarantee that, right? Because sometimes, so execution of a thread depends on an operating system, correct? Scheduler. So which thread will be executing? See, sometimes if one thread is accessing, see, one thread is waiting for another thread. Then that means you cannot tell at any point of time what thread is executing and how much time does it execute. That we cannot identify.
Since we are debugging here, we have
Yes,
to
since you see, Why did I do the debug? Because whenever you say, whenever someone says that it's a thread, it's an independent path of execution. How do I know that it's an independent path of execution? Correct. So in order to show you that, I'm doing the debugging. Why do you debug? In order to see how the flow is happening. Correct. So that's the reason. Since I am doing the debug, the control is in my hand. Correct. But whenever you execute a program, do you have the control? No, that's the thing.
No, sir.
Now here, look at here, all the threads are running only. But after completion, it should go to shutdown, correct? That means it should
Yes, sir.
call it as a terminated. Why it is not happening?
Running mode.
They are still running.
Yeah, why? I have completed, but still it is running mode. So whenever you are using a executor framework, at the end of the program, what you need to do is you need to call the shutdown method. So after completion of all of this, now you need to call the shutdown method. See, I have executed everything. Let me call ex dot shutdown. So you need to call the shutdown method. Then only the thread, after completion of the thread, it will be shut down. Like it will see like this, it will come. It will come as a terminated. Let me debug it. This is also not a new method. It is already existing. If I have to execute only invoke all method, it may not be making sense, right? If you may, I know that many of you does not know this executor framework, right? Without knowing the executor framework, I cannot explain invoke all method. So that's the reason I have explained all of this. Now look at here. Let me click on go to thread. Let me click F8, 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 F8. See, now it is showing terminated, correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Earlier it was not happening. Earlier I used to click this red button, this terminate button, then only it has terminated. So the best programming is whenever you are using a executor framework, you need to call the shutdown method at the end so that the threads will be terminated after the execution. Okay. Any questions, anyone?
No, sir.
I hope everyone understood this multi-threading and the Java 9 feature in the concurrency API. Sunil, Swati, Srivali, Krishna, Melvin, Amul, Atul, Devendra. Any questions, anyone?
Sir, Krishna here. I have one doubt. In this process, right? I mean, we just have taken a sample calculation or something like that. So, in real-time web-based application, I mean, how it will be useful? Like, can you explain any real-time scenario like
So
that?
yesterday, were you present in yesterday class?
Yes.
Okay. If you look at a web-based application, whenever you take a web-based application, each and every request is a thread, correct?
Yes.
So then why do you apply the multi-threading? Already it's a separate thread, right?
Yes.
See, whenever you click in a login button, one thread. When I click in a login button, it's a thread. That means your request and my request will be submitted, will be processed parallelly, correct?
Parallel.
So then do you need a multi-threading? No, in the web-based application, we don't do multi-threading because it's already my server. Like whenever you do the web-based application, right? So the Tomcat server, Apache server, or Glassfish, whatever the server that you take, it is capable of executing, handling the request parallelly, correct? So you don't need to do that because, for example, assume that if it is not a multi-threading, then when I click on login button, is it waiting? Say, and you are clicking on login button and I'm clicking on login button. Assume that there is a Facebook website. It's a web-based application. You have entered your credentials. I have entered my credential. I'm clicking on login button and you're clicking on login button at the same time, at the same millisecond. Is it waiting or immediately you are able to go to the home page?
Okay.
You're going to the home page, correct? Because your request will be separately served and my request will be separately served, correct? That means two requests are coming at the same time, but still my web application, if you debug it, two debugger will see, if you do the same thing, what you can do is for your application, you go to some login page, whatever, if you are you working?
Yes.
So what you can do, you have some application, right?
Yes.
So what you can do, you have the web page, right? You might have some submit button or login button. So you open the Chrome window, you go to one page and click on login button, and you open the same application in some other browser. Okay, and you go to some other UI, like UI in the sense like some other page, some
Yeah.
other HTML, and click on some other button. So both the times you will get a debugger windows, correct, to the backend.
Okay.
So because all the web-based applications are multi-threaded applications only. Now the question comes, where can I apply this one? Multi-threading. So this multi-threading will be applied generally. Still, if you want, you can apply, not a problem. Even in web-based application, you can, if you want to write a multi-threading code, yes, you can write, not an issue. But it is not that much useful. Now, where it is useful, whenever you are writing a batch processing. So that means, see, can I say that web-based application will be for a users, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, but you want to process the data bulk. For example, Facebook, sometimes whenever there is some hacking or something is happening, you will get a notification from the Facebook, correct?
Yes.
Saying that like in order to make your account secure, please follow these things. I'm taking one example, correct? Some notifications you are getting from the Facebook. So do they do, if how do they do? They can use sometimes they will be using a Kafka like a architecture, like they'll put a message to the Kafka and that will be listened to all the employees. That they can do. Or they can also do, in order to publish, that means one notification by the Facebook should be published to or should be notified by all the customers. In order to do that, so they can write a one batch programming, correct, which executes in the night, and then immediately it will create a notification to all the persons. So at that time, if you write a single threaded application, it may take time. So then you can use a multi-threading application, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So whenever you wanted to do some bulk processing, then this multi-threading will be useful.
So can we use this multi-threading for cron jobs also?
What is meant by cron jobs?
Like they'll run at particular time.
Yeah, yes. So that is what, like, that means whenever, generally, that cron jobs, particular time means they will run in the night, correct? When no online users are working, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So that means why are you doing the runtime at night time? Are you processing a single record or are you processing a bulk records?
Bulk records.
So bulk records, see, that means night time means maximum 12 hours, correct? Night 10 to morning 6 o'clock, maybe 10 hours of time you have. But on a specific day, for example, you are doing year-end process. On the December 31st night, whoever is not speaking, please go on mute. I can hear my voice. Yeah. On December 31st, assume that you are executing a separate standalone job. But the number of records on the December 31st, assume that you have 20 lakhs of records. Okay. But generally, every day you don't get that many records, but some on a specific day you got many records. That time, can I say that that job will, the time taken by the job will more than the regular time? Yes or no? Yeah. In that scenario, the job will run even the daytime also, correct? So which is not expected. So in order to reduce the time, can you implement a multi-threading there? Yes.
sir.
So that is the best example. That is what when I say, if you listen to my explanation, I said like bulk data processing. Bulk data processing in generally in the project happens like whatever may be the project, there are some scheduled jobs which runs at a particular time, generally in the night. So in those jobs, they may not be directly using a multi-threading, but some people will be using Spring Batch. I hope you have heard that Spring Batch, right? There is a framework called Spring Batch.
Yes, sir.
So internally, it is also using like some multi-threading concept and all. So you may not be directly using the multi-threading, but if you want, you can write a standalone Java application. See, in order to use a Spring Batch, you need some setup to be created, right? Some Spring Batch
Yes,
jar file should be present and all, but you don't have all. You are doing some POC. So there is a performance issue in your project, which is taking time, a lot of time. And you have been asked to do the POC. POC is nothing but a principle of concept, which is nothing but like you wanted to, how can you reduce the time? So if they are asking you to do the demo, then what you can do? Can I say that this is a standalone Java program you can run? You don't need anything else, correct? You just right click, run as Java application, or you can trigger this Java file from the Linux also. Okay, and automatically internally I can mention that how many threads I want, and it will run the process faster. So in this way, you do not have any dependency, correct? Yes or no? So this is the best way, the multi-threading is the best way to implement any bulk data operations. And if someone is asking you to do the POC, you whatever the files I have shared, the skeleton would be same. Only thing is you can change the file names, and in the run method or call method, you write your logic. That's it. I hope that does that make sense? The one who asked the question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions, anyone? Okay, I hope it is understood by everyone. And if you have any questions, please revert to me. And let us go for the Java 9 complete overview and then interview questions. I know there are some questions like what is the use of a generate method in the stream? I will explain that tomorrow because I have to wrap up. I have some office meeting at 10:15, so I have to wrap up the class early. So that's the reason I'm trying to rewind the class and go through the interview questions. And there is one reduce method which I have to tell you, and then there is one question, what is a generate method in the stream? I will explain that tomorrow, and then we can start with the Java 11. Okay. Now let us look at the Java 9 interview question. Okay. Can someone tell me what is a JShell?
The REPL tool, we can write code snippets and execute it.
So is it who can the JShell is helpful for which person? Is it a developer, application, or project, or who?
Developer.
There is a
Developer.
tool for developers.
Yeah. What is REPL, REPL?
Read,
evaluate, perform, and
Print loop.
Read, evaluate, print, and loop. Okay. Now, so why Java 9 does not have a RT.jar?
RT.jar files are modularized.
modularization concept that RT.jar has been broken down into several modules.
Yeah. How many modules are present in Java 9?
It is
98.
Yeah. Is it constant or can it grow?
No, it can grow.
It can grow.
Yeah, because whenever the Java is introducing new feature, they will create a new package. Whenever there is a new package, they can split that into a module, correct? Okay. Now, what is the difference between a module and a jar? Jar is nothing but whatever the class file that you are doing, you are extracting into a Java archive. But in the module, whenever you are extracting, so can I say that that module will have a module-info.java file?
Yes, sir.
I mean, like that module-info.java, it's a Java file. Module-info is also a Java file. After compilation, can I say that it will be converted into class file, module-info.class? If you look at, that's the reason you can see, let me show you that. In the java.base module, or take any of the module. So look at JR. So this is 1.8, right? Now, JRE. If I look at java.sql, see here, module-info.class. Why it is class? Because first of all, this java.sql is a what kind of a file? It's a jar file only, right? Look at here. What is the extension of this file at the end?
.jar.
.jar file only. But general jar file, and what is the general, whenever you convert the Java project into a jar file, does it contain Java 8 jar file? Does it contain module-info.java file? No. But from Java 9 onwards, this module, see, java.sql is a module. Module is nothing but it's a project they have created. And then the project will have a module-info.java file done. After that, after you have done, can I say that it will be compiled? And then all the compiled classes together kept in one place that is called as a Java archive. It's nothing but a jar. So whenever you compile this Java module-info. It's a Java file. So it will be converted into a .class file. Okay, that is the difference between a jar file and the module.jar versus normal jar. Okay. So what are the advantages of JShell is nothing but a developer friendly. What is a snippet in JShell?
A valid Java statement.
Any valid Java statement that you write. So what is not allowed in the JShell? What statement is not allowed in JShell?
Importing.
Package importation.
Import statement.
Package statement. Import already will be there, right? You don't import anything else, but import is already there. But the thing that is not allowed is package. You cannot create a package. Okay. How can I know all the commands used by all the snippets by JShell? /list -all. What is the scratch variable?
Variables created by the JSL, it is the called scratch variable.
Yeah. So a variable that is created by a JShell in order to store the value after the calculation is called as a scratch variable. Okay.
Implicit variable.
Yeah, implicit variable or scratch variable. Explicit variable is nothing but a variable created by the developer. Now, how can I see the methods in the JShell?
/ methods.
And how can I
Slash
see
method.
how can I drop a particular snippet?
Drop snippet.
Yeah, or else what is the other way? If I want to drop a method, I don't want to use that method also will have a snippet ID, correct?
Drop
But
method name.
yeah, /drop followed by a method name, or /drop. If you want to drop a variable, then you give a variable name. That means I can use a /drop followed by snippet ID or some name. That name can be a variable or class or interface or method, correct? With that name, anything is found, then that will be dropped. Now what happens? String x equal to Karthik, and later I am doing int x equal to 10. What happens? Will it give a compilation error?
No, sir, it overrides.
Overridden.
So that means previous x value Karthik will be overridden by 10. And what if I do the system.out.println x, then it will print 10 or Karthik?
10.
10. That means in the JShell, is it allowed in the normal Java?
No, sir, already used it.
Yeah, compilation error, it will be throwing that duplicated variable. Now that means if a variable, so the same logic applies for, so I created a interface called interface test and some abstract methods. Now I'm creating a class test. What happens?
Interface class will be overridden by.
So interface will be overridden by the class. Class is the latest one, right? So that means anything, if you are reusing the same name, previous one will be overridden by the current one. Okay. Now, how to list all the active and inactive snippets is nothing but look at here. /list will give you active snippets, /list -all will give you inactive and active both. Okay. Now, yeah, what are the interface and classes you want to see? /types. So if you want to click on edit, then it will open in the edit window. Okay. Now, what is the base module in Java 9?
Java.base.
Okay.
Java.base.
Yeah. What is a module-info.java file contains?
It contains that export
Collection.
and require statements.
Not only export and require, there are others also. Okay, but generally we use export, requires, export followed by what do I need to mention? Export followed by package name or
Package
module name?
Package.
Package.
If I have a project with 10 packages and I want to export all of those, then do I need to write one statement or 10 statements?
No,
10
individually
statement.
package level we can export.
Export followed by package pack 1, export followed by pack 2, etc. Okay. Now, whenever I'm using a require statement, can I say that requires followed by module name or package name?
Module name.
Now, whenever you are requiring a module, can I say that whatever the exported packages in that module, all you can use it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now, is it possible that 2 modules can have the same package?
No.
No, sir.
Okay. From Java 8, is it allowed in Java 8?
Yes.
In
Yes.
Java 9?
Yes. Not allowed in Java 9.
Yeah.
Compile
So,
time is throwing away.
yeah. So that means when you will get a compile time error is a question. Okay. So I have created a project 1. I'm using a pack 1. Okay. I'm using a module 2. I'm using a pack 1. Okay. In module 3, I wanted to use both. I'm doing requires module 1 and 2. That time I will get a compilation error, correct?
Yes.
So generally, if you create a project, you don't get a compilation error. But after creating two, you are creating two projects with the same package name. And in the third project, you are using the above two projects. Then only you can see the compilation error, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you use only one module, then it won't.
Yeah, if you use only one module, no problem. Because you are directly, see, if you are using only requires module 1, then directly you are telling that take this package from the module 1 only. But if you are using requires module 1 comma module 2, then how does the Java know that which package it should take, correct? Because the package name is
Yeah.
same.
Ambiguity.
In Java 8, how it's to happen? Because the classes are getting loaded during the compile time. During the compile time, whichever the Java identifies the first one, it will execute that. But in Java 9 onwards, the class, everything it will check before running the program. During the compile time itself, it will check whether I have all the classes or not to run my Java program. If it is all are present, then only it will execute. So that's the reason. What kind of error will not get from Java 9 onwards?
Compile time error, it will not.
No class definition error.
No class. Yes.
Class
Kind of.
definition not found or no class definition error, we don't get it. Because during the compile time, see, when the no class definition error will come? Whenever you run a program.
It's not
So
It's not in the class path.
yeah. So because that class path will be evaluated whenever during the running. But here in the Java 9, that also will be checked at the compile time only. Hence, we don't get no class definition found error. Okay. Now what is the advantage of a module?
By class
Security.
loading,
Reduces
so
the
many
size of the application.
JVM improved.
Reduces the size of the application means it performance will be improved.
So it will reduce the class loading time also. And since whatever the modules that you require, the runtime will occupy the memory only for those modules. That's the first thing. And can I say that security also will be provided? Because though the passive can, what is the definition of a public from the Java 9 onwards?
It is only for that module only. It is only for
within
that.
within the project only.
Yeah, within the project or within the module only, you can access the class which is declared as a public. Can, without mentioning requires, can I use the public variable or public class outside of in a different project?
No, sir, we can't.
No. So that means the public definition has been modified. So if you don't want to export some package to anyone, then you can do that. You don't write an export statement in that module-info.java so that it will provide the what you call security, correct? And if you, so I request you guys to go through the notes for this modularity because I have mentioned everything in the, see, whenever it goes for an interview, you cannot say like this, right? Small answers. Like, so you just read the notes once so that you will understand better. Okay. What is a try with resource? Anyone who, yeah.
Try with resource, it is that resource is implementing the auto closable interface so that whenever the the execution is go out of the try block, then that resource will be closed automatically. No need to close that resource inside the panel block manually.
Yeah. Anyone else? Anyone answers? Anyone? So if you are using a try with resource, I don't need to write a finally block, correct? Automatically, the advantage of try with resource is whatever the finally block is doing the work, which is closing the resources, will be taken care by Java automatically. How it will do? So whatever the resource, whatever the class that is implementing an auto closable interface directly or indirectly, that you need to write in the try followed by the brackets. And then automatically after execution of the try block, if there is a catch block error, then after execution of a catch block, automatically the finally block, finally, though it is not present, it will call the close method and then it will close the system resource. Okay. So is it a Java 1.9 feature, try with resource, or is it already available?
1.7, sir. 1.7.
1.7.
So what is the difference between try with the resource between 1.7 and 1.9?
In 1.7, we used to specify the entire, object creation inside the block, whereas here, auto closable object only we specify within the try.
Yeah. So that means in 1.7, if you want to close a resource, that entire resource, the object has to be created within the try block. Try within the try block means this is try followed by the bracket, open bracket and close bracket. You need to mention the resource. Okay, you need to create a resource there itself. If you're creating outside of that, then using the tree local variable, that will not work. But in 1.9, what happened? You can create a resource outside, and that resource, instead of creating a calling again, you can just mention the local variable or object name, correct?
Correct, sir.
Yeah. So that is the change in the 1.9. Okay. Now, okay, that is what I have mentioned here. Local variable reference cannot be accepted in Java 1.9. Can we see local variable reference can be accepted in 1.9. Okay. Now, okay, what is the change that is performed for diamond operator in 1.9? First of all, what is the advantage of using a diamond operator?
Type
So
safety.
Provide generics.
to implement generics, we use diamond operators.
So with that, so what is the advantage?
Type
Means
safety tag.
type
class.
safety.
Type,
Type safety and type casting.
Yeah, type
otherwise,
safety. and type
class cast steps, sir.
Yes. Okay. Now, okay. Now, whoever is answering, that's well and good. Just try to. I think others may feel that they are not getting the chance. Whoever till now, whoever has answered, just go on mute. If others are not able to answer, then you can answer. Others now, whoever want to answer it, then do it now. So, what is the change performed for diamond operator in 1.9? Anyone? Others like whoever wanted to answer it. Okay, then go anyone else now.
So it is in case of anonymous inner class.
Anonymous in a class, yes, that is right.
So no need to write that timeout operator there.
Towards right side. You need to
Yes,
mention
towards
towards left side. The same
Yes,
thing
sir.
happens for normal. If you want to create a list object in 1.5, you need to mention both the sides, correct? List integer L equal to new array list integer object. But from 1.7 onwards, you don't need to mention right side onwards. Similarly, from 1.9 onwards, whenever you are creating a anonymous inner class object creation, you don't need to provide the generics towards the right side. That is a change made to the diamond operator. Now, can someone tell me what is a take while?
Like limit method, it takes predicate.
Okay. What does it will do? Take while some predicate. What
Take
will be the
while-
output?
Take while
until-
it will. It is like it will select those elements unless that particular condition met.
Once the chain gets lost,
Sorry,
it
till-
is going to be not.
Till that condition met.
Okay. Others? There was one is telling.
Which is taking a predicate. If you predicate
Yeah, it
check,
is taking a predicate. Yes.
it is taking something and performing some operation and return some boolean value. Now,
Hmm.
on top of the list, if you perform this take while, it will take only by name itself. It will take only the certain condition. If it is false, from there onwards, it is not going to be get executed.
Yeah.
It is not at all looking at remaining elements.
Yeah. So when till the from the starting position to till when the predicate condition is satisfied, then after the take while you may write some other. Can you write some other operations or not? Take while followed by filter. Can you write?
Yes.
Take while
Yes,
followed
sir,
by
it
map.
will-
Can you write?
These are intermediate.
Yes, it is an intermediate
predict-
operation.
It's
It is
a
like-
short circuit intermediate operation, right? So
Yes.
that means take while. How does the take while will execute? From the starting position to till the predicate becomes true, then it will execute. Once the predicate falls, there may be at the end of the in the stream, I have some which are satisfying the condition in the initial. Done. Though on top of those, the next intermediate operation will be performed. But once the predicate fails, then can it look at the rest of the data, whether it is pass or fail? No. Once the predicate is fails, then it will not look at the rest of the data, and rest of the intermediate operations also will not be carried out on the rest of the data. Okay. So take while will take from the starting to the till the condition is true. What drop while will do? It will drop the elements till the condition is true. Once it fails, it will execute. So drop while is similar to the skip method. Take while is limited to the limit method. What is the difference between a take while and a filter?
Not check throughout the list in take while, but if you go for the filter, it will see through end of the list also.
Yeah. So if you do the filter also taking a predicate, but the filter predicate will be executed on top of all the elements in the stream. Okay. If the stream has 100 elements, the predicate will execute on the 100 elements and it will check whether it's a true or false. But take while, the predicate will execute till the condition is true. Once the condition is failed, for example, at 5th position, if the predicate is failed, then it will ignore from 6 to 100, correct? It may be 9th position, 10th position, it may be true, but it will not consider those. Once it is fail means fail. Okay. Now write a stream program to display employee whose salary is less than 10,000 using take while. Okay. So this is what I have written. But before this, what you have to do? It will you need to put the array in a sorted order, correct? Then it will print all the data. What's the difference between a take while and filter? Just we have done. So how can I create an immutable object, immutable collection in Java 9?
Okay. Unmodified list.
Yeah. So in Java 9, we can use off method, list.off method and all. I think this is without Java 9. Yeah. Without Java 9 means we have to use an unmodifiable list, unmodifiable set, or unmodifiable map. So the same thing, how can I do in Java 9 using an off method?
That off method is just static method, right?
Yes. That's the reason you are using an interface name followed by the static method name, correct?
Okay.
How to call a static method
Correct.
present in an interface? Interface name followed by the static method name. See, list is the interface name followed by the off.
Correct.
Yeah. So what happens if you perform add or remove on an immutable collection? Unsupported exception, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible to declare same package in different modules?
No.
No.
We
What are the advantages?
we can.
Yeah, we can declare, but at
but
the same time, you cannot
yeah.
use those two modules which are
Both.
having the same package in third
at a
module.
time.
Okay, you need to take an example whenever this kind of a question is asked, then you can tell that. So I'm taking project 1, module package name pack1, project 2, package name is pack1. At this point of time, we don't get any compilation error. Now I'm taking package 3. In this package 3, I want to, in the module-info.java, I want to use both project 1 and project 2. Then what I will do, requires project 1, project 2. At that time, the compiler does not know, because both the projects are having the same package, it does not know where to use it. So that's the reason we get an error. Generally, that's the reason suggested approach is whenever you're creating a different modules, you need to use a unique package name, correct? Yes or no?
Correct, sir. Correct.
Yeah. What is the advantage of modularity or module-info.java in 9? Security, jar size will be reduced. JVM will check for the different dependencies before the start of the program. So there is no way to get a class definition error from Java 9. Okay. What is the advantage of using a process API? Process API.
We can control the programs in our system.
We can create and manage our own processes.
That means, can I say that you can closely work with the operating system?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you want to work with the operating system, generally, if someone is asking in the interview, if you are not able to get it in tip of your brain, then what you can do is you can tell that if for example, Eclipse is stuck in my laptop, that is the very frequent happens, correct? Whenever you open an Eclipse in your project, the Eclipse will stuck, right? Does anyone face this problem or not in your project till now?
Many times.
Yes,
Yeah.
many
So
times.
that time, what do? You will go to the task manager and close the task, correct? And if you want to open Eclipse, again, you will go to the start window and open Eclipse. So that is nothing but I am working with, in order to close the task, you are going to the task manager. That means you are directly, that means that is operated, that is taken care by the operating system, you are using that. So if you want to close a resource or open a resource, then you can do that using a Java program. In order to do that, there is an interface that is introduced in Java 9 that is called as process handler. In the process handler interface, there are different methods. By using a off method, you can give the process ID. Then it will give you all the details of that process. If you are using a all process, there is a method called all process. Then it will give you all the running process. It will give you a stream of process handler. Now, if there is another method called current process. It will give you the current executing process. So after getting the process, you can call the destroy method. So destroy method is same as end task, correct? If I go to the task manager, are you able to see my task manager? So if I
Yes,
want
sir.
to click it, so can I say that I will select the process and then click on end task, correct? So if
Yes,
I want to end this task using the Java program, what I will do? I will call process handler of what I have to do, pass process ID, PID, 580. Then I will get all the details of this process handler, like who has created, when it is executing, how much time, etc. And after that, if I want to close it manually, then I will select it, click on end task. Then how do I do in Java program? The pr.destroy, correct? Calling the destroy method is same as clicking on the end task button. Yeah.
Correct.
So, and how can I create a process? If you want to open Eclipse, what do? You go to the start window and open the Eclipse. Right? Now, similarly, if I want to open a process using a Java 9, how can I open a process? Using a process builder class. So there is a class called process builder. You need to create an object to this process builder class, and it is taking one argument as a constructor argument. So you need to give the .exe path, correct? So whichever the process you want to open. When I say process, means it can be Eclipse, it can be a Notepad, it can be a SQL developer, anything. So for each and every software, do you have a exe file? Yes or no?
Yes.
So that exe path you need to mention and then call the start method. That means using the Java program, you can start the process, and using the Java program, you can end the process. That is the advantage of process API enhancement in Java 9. Understood?
Yes.
Yeah. What is the advantage of private method in an interface?
Utility.
No.
To reuse
not
the
a-
code in the interface.
Yeah. Why can't I do that with a default method?
Then
Security.
Yeah, go ahead.
All the implementation class must can override.
So you can do the reusability using a default method also, not a problem. But the thing is, whenever there is a default method in an interface, can it be overridden in the implementing class?
Yes.
Yes.
So whenever it is overridden, then whatever the logic that you have written in the interface, it will be bypassed, correct? So in order to provide the reusability, default method, you can use it. It will be good as long as you are not overriding it. But once you use a default method, for example, I have written the reusability using a default method. Now, can I control that? Like in my project, there are some other developers like Sunil and Vaibhav, some other persons are there. So can I control them not to override that? Do I hold their hands? No, right? There should be some way. They should not be able to override that, right? But if I use a default method, they can override it. They can bypass it, right? But what is the best way? If you are writing a reusable, if you are implementing a private method in the interface, you can, in the private method, you can write a code and that code you can use in that private method can be called under the default method or static method. Okay, and then can anyone call the private method outside of an interface?
No.
No. Can anyone override the private method?
We can override, but it is not override.
No, private method I am taking. I am not talking about static method. Private method. Can you override first of all?
Private
Private
methods are
method
not available outside the class.
not available. Yes, it is not visible. Correct. It is visible within the interface or within the class or within the wherever it is present. There only you can access it. Outside of that, you cannot do it. So that is the what is the best usage of private method is in the interface is reusability of the code. Now, whenever you answer it, immediately they will ask you, why can't I do the reusability using the what do you call default method? Yes, I can do the reusability, but default method can be overridden. So then whenever it is overridden, as long as it is not overridden, then that's fine. If it is overridden, then the code that we have written in the interface under default method will be bypassed. So that's the reason in order to do the reusability, default method is the not right way. What is the advantage of default method in Java 8?
Backward compatibility.
Yeah, backward compatibility. What is the advantage of a static method in Java 8?
We can use it as utility method.
Utility method. And the one example I can tell you that instead
Solve
of collections interface, yeah, you don't need to create a separate class just to have the static method, right? Okay. Now, say I have a static method. Assume that in interface I have a static method. Two static methods are there, M1 and M2, two static methods present in an interface. Now M1, M2 or two methods are having some code which is common. Now I want to do the reusability. Then can I say that I have to create a private method? Yes. Do I need to create a private static method or private method, only private instance method?
Private static, sir.
Why? Why not private
Because
instance method?
A non-static, we cannot use that in static context.
So whether it's a class or interface, static method can access another static method only, correct? And static method can access another static variable only. From the static context, you cannot call non-static. So that's the reason in the interface, you can write a private static method or private instance method also. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is what we have learned so far, Java 9. So I'll be telling you the small topics which I mentioned, like generate method, reduce method. I will explain that in the next class. And then we will get started with the Java 11. Like, have you guys, anyone attended any interview in the meantime? And were you able to answer these questions of Java 8 and 9? None of you guys attended any interview?
No, not attended any interview during this time.
Any others?
I have uploaded the resumes. Just now they are shortlisting for the interviews.
Okay, fine. So just look at it, and I hope like whatever I have mentioned in the notes, that would be enough. So just look at and then attend the interview. And if you are not able to answer any questions, let me know. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any so I'm thinking that you guys are going through the notes. So I hope that is already in progress. If anyone did not get a chance, please go through the notes, because I have mentioned that is not copied from somewhere. I have written on my own. I took so much time and then I have written normal English. Okay. So just go through the notes. It would be helpful for you guys. If no question, that's all for today. Tomorrow we are going to look at that miscellaneous topics, and then we'll start with the Java 11. So I need one help from any one of you. Can anyone install the Java 11 version or any version later than Java 11 and then try executing a program using a notepad? That means after Java 11 is installed, what you guys can do is write a public static void main, like one class, just as main method, and then hello world, and then run the program using a command prompt. That means go to the command prompt, javac followed by class name .java, and then Java followed by class name. If it is executing, then let me know in the next class.
Okay.
Yeah, I just need in my laptop, there is some software issue. I'm not able to do that. execution from the notepad. I'm able to do it from the Eclipse, but I wanted to show you one extra feature from Java 11 onwards. Generally, any Java program, if you are writing in a notepad in Java, you need to compile first, you need to run next. Compile and run. There are two steps, Java C command and Java command. But from Java 11 onwards, you don't need to compile a program. Directly, you can execute a program. That is the advantage. So in order to demonstrate that, I request someone to please install Java 11 version or greater than 11 version, and then write one Java program and see whether you are able to compile it and then run it through
And
the
also,
notepad.
I think without main method, also we can write on Java program, right?
We don't, in order to write a Java program, main method is not needed in Java 1.8 also. In order to run a program, you need it.
Okay.
So program gets compiled without a main method.
Okay.
Because compilation is nothing but whatever the code that you write, whether you are following the Java syntax checks or not, that is needed. Okay, but whenever you run a program, you need a main method because execution starts from a main method.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So there was a topic saying that you can execute a Java program without a main method when you have a static block.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is the thing. I think you can execute a Java program without a main, but you need to have a static block.
But that doesn't work anymore. So I think.
Yeah. Yes. It will work till Java 1.8 only. But from 1.7 only it will work. From 1.7 onwards, they modify.
See that Python is extremely easy.
Okay.
Simple language.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay. So if no question, that's all for today, guys. Thank you all. Thanks for joining. Have a nice day. I just anyone like whoever is having a time today, just install Java 11 version and make that program ready. Like just execute a hello world program and then check whether you are able to compile through the command prompt and run through the command prompt. And whoever is doing that, I'll make them as admin tomorrow. I just wanted to show you one demo. Okay. If no question, that's all for today, guys. Thank you all. Thanks for joining. Have a nice day.